Well, hello there, you amazing, amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. I hope you're all well on this thirsty Thursday. And you're looking thirsty. You're looking amazing. You beautiful, beautiful person, you. Anyway, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. Did I say this is video 2 of 2? It is, because if I didn't say it, I'll say it now. 2 of 2. How's that? More than one video a day. Multiple videos a day. Look, if that ain't worth a subscribe, I don't know what is. Get down there, go press that button, I'll wait. Done it? Good. And so look, we're in this little bit of, that's like that space between Christmas Day and New Year's Day, you know, where you don't really know what day of the week it is. It's almost like one day sort of merged into one. And with respect to the Idaho 4 case, I feel that's where we are at the moment, because we're all kind of waiting for Judge Hitler, and I think he's loving this. The fact that we're still waiting, I think we're loving it. I know it's a big decision. What does he do? Does he do fuck all? Does he remove the death penalty? Does he leave the death penalty in place but then allow a continuance? What is he weighing it up? Is he going to end up just throwing a dice and letting the chips fall where they may and picking, I don't know, heads or tails? Who knows? But we are in this real strange place where we don't really know what's happening. But what I do feel is that is also giving mainstream media a little bit of a period of time where they know everyone's focusing, they know everybody's watching, they know everyone's on tenterhooks, so they're now starting to slap a load of stuff up through their reporting. And it's interesting on the things that they're saying. Now, I did cover an article yesterday. I'm going to speak on something here today because I think that when you look into what's being written, it's almost like Ann Taylor comes along. She says, "Look, I'm not ready for this trial. I'm literally not ready for it. Now, if you remove the death penalty, the chances are I'll be ready because there is a lot of work that I have to do in terms of a death penalty trial that I don't have to do if it's not a death penalty trial. So that will free up some time and allow me to focus in another area that I need to, which that other area, in fact." Let me just come back up here. That other area seems to be the area of Bryan Kohberger's history, his past. And I could be wrong here in terms of, does that become more important in the mitigation phase when it's about a death penalty case? And then I'm thinking to myself, hold on a second. I think this entire fucking trial is about Bryan Kohberger's past. This is about the evil way in which the Idaho state is seemingly trying to work this entire process on Bryan Kohberger. And Ann Taylor, I think she's cottoned on to what's going on here, and she understands that this delving into Bryan Kohberger's past and not allowing them to kind of sideswipe her, because I think this has all been about sideswiping. Now, they have done nothing but buried what should be discovery in what the prosecution are bringing forward. You know, we're going into trial, and you should have given me everything that you're going to use as proof and evidence against my client. Do you know what I mean? And that's not how this has worked. This is still, when we're only a few weeks away from trial, still requesting discovery, still things that we know are missing. Fucking phones. Do you know what I mean? There's still things that are missing. And it looks to me, like, even when you look in the media, like, I'm not going to read the whole article, but just check this out, right? Fucking case in point here. So it goes on, a prison guard at Pennsylvania jail where Bryan Kohberger was taken in the immediate aftermath of his arrest has now been called as a surprise witness in his capital murder trial. So we've got surprise witnesses coming up, which what we've got to think of is Bryan Kohberger's defense team. If this is someone who's been brought in by the defense, or the prosecution, which there's a lot of movement on the prosecution that moves in line with this, so it could potentially be that. There were statements made that apparently Bryan Kohberger had been threatening towards guards. That was subsequently rebutted, but we don't know. But if we come down here, look, and come down, it says the accused killer was kicked out of the program following complaints from a group of female students. former high school administrator Tanya Carmela Beers has previously revealed. Camilla Beers told the Idaho Massacre podcast in 2023 that Kohberger took the law enforcement program extremely seriously, and that he wanted law enforcement more than anything else in the world. So they kind of give you some details, but they don't give you enough details. Just, oh, he was removed from a program because of something to do with females. And it says here, knowing that, she said she was shocked to learn of his arrest, but based on the nature of the complaints against him at school, she was less surprised. I know another little piece, which is the piece that occurred at the school, so that makes sense, she said. So what are these little bits and pieces? And this is a new article, by the way. So Camilla Beers would not divulge the exact details of the complaints made by the female student, saying only a complaint was made and the teacher reported it to me and said, this is not something we can have. An investigation needed to be conducted. Other students were interviewed. Bryan was interviewed. And there comes a time when decisions have to be made, whether it's the decision the student wants or not. After being removed from the program, Kohberger is transferred to the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning course instead. It is not clear if Sommer's summon as a witness is related to the incidents on the law enforcement program. It's also unclear from the court documents what the purpose of their trial testimony would be, or whether they are being sought as witnesses by the defense or prosecution. But what we've got here, in grander scheme of things, whoa, what's going on with the screen? I've gone massive. What is going on with that? Let's wind that down. You don't want my face massive. What's going down there? Whoa, now I'm moving everything. The whole thing's gone wrong. We'll sort that out afterwards. So, chaos. So, yeah, what it seems to me is that we've got Bryan Kohberger, who is accused of killing students. The entire timeline of this event is based on students saying when Bryan came, when Bryan left, that they saw him, bushy eyebrows, that even that situation, the bushy eyebrows, that witness has turned around and said, I'm not credible, I don't know what was going on. But Idaho, the state, seemed to think, well, that's all right. No, you're a student, murdered students, you're a student, you're gauging us, that you've given us the entire timeline. Then you've got this other person come along, this DoorDash, I don't even know, which is also being given credence by multiple people, saying, yeah, this is definitely the person. You've definitely got to listen to them, because what they're saying places him there. This article here goes on to speak about it and says that she literally says that he's there, so that must be that he was there. She clearly saw him. Even her charges were changed. She's got Christy Nevada releases the videos that show in the back seat, and it seems to me that she has literally been in a position where she has angled charges being dropped or lowered in, how can I say without saying, she's a fucking informant, mate. She's a fucking informant, and that's what it seems to be. This person's an informant. She's had charges either fucked off or at least reduced, and she has a chat that's basically talking about that in the back of this car, where she's literally saying, well, I'm supposed to be a witness and this ain't gonna look good, wink wink, do you think that we should get rid of it? And the cops turned around and says, well, I think it's probably going to be the drugs that they have a problem with. And then it turns around that gets changed from a DUI to some other lesser charge that's got fuck all to do with drugs by the sound of it. And I'm thinking to myself, we're watching this play out in public, some of this craziness. We're literally watching it, and you're standing there with open mouths thinking, are they genuinely doing that when they know that we're watching and seeing all this shit transpire? It's fucking lunacy. And I think to myself, this is what you've got. You've got a case that doesn't really have a lot of proper tangible physical evidence. You've got a knife sheath with a load of shady shit attached to it. You've got a car that, could it be a white Hyundai Elantra? Yeah, it could. It could also be a Sonata. It could be someone else's car. There's multiple cars in the area that could potentially be. There's nothing that would absolutely nail the coffin door shut on Bryan Kohberger in terms of the car being, oh yeah, that's definitely Bryan's. Fuck no. So I don't really know what else there is. You've got the phone situation, which they're seemingly trying to twist, saying no evidence is actual evidence, while simultaneously in the background we could say, but hold on, you should have the evidence that would prove what you're saying. But you seem to want to hide that, so why is it? And then you've got the specialist who's backing that up with fucking nearly 30 years experience being called a conspiracy theorist by the actual judge. How the fuck does that work? But what it seems to me is that Idaho, the state, they want to ride this wave. They want to build up so much negativity through the communities, and they've used the non-dissemination order. They've weaponized it. They've weaponized media. They've allowed media to get away with saying whatever they want, and they release whatever they want. Well, you've got leaks in the background as well, which is leaking stuff that, again, gives because you've got this non-dissemination order that seems to have fucking kicked in massively again, you've got these places like Dateline being able to run their mouths and say whatever they want, which is weaponized media, which we've seen previously, we've seen in the past. You know, if you've been around this channel, like Brian Harvey, for instance, who I've done lives with, ex-E17 frontman, weaponized media, it happens all the fucking time to destroy people, and that's what's happening here. Media being used to destroy an individual, while a weak-ass case is in the background with more questions than, I don't know, a questionnaire with lots of questions. But we'll ignore all that, because what we'll do is just make everybody hate this guy. Absolutely hate him. We'll go into his past. We'll dig up as much shit as we can that he did while he was fucking at school, by the sound of it, and use that as leverage against this weak case and say, look, it must have been him because he pulled some girl's hair or flicked a booger at her when he was 7. You fucking morons. Is that really how much you've got to dig to try and execute someone, to see what they did when they were a fucking teenager? Jesus, if I was now, like you could say I am a big kid. We'll scrap that. Let me know down below what you think. Is there truly a strong case against Bryan Kohberger? Are we genuinely just ignoring all the questions because it's convenient for us to do so if we're a guilter? Or are we making questions because we're on the fence or, want to look like we're being fair? Are we creating questions that don't exist? And is this going to be simply the state just making people hate Bryan Kohberger? Because people do. People who have not even met this guy, seen this guy, had anything to do with him, literally hate him and want him dead. Let that sink in for a minute. People want this guy dead, and he's not even entered the trial yet. It's a fucked up world we live in.